Wait, isn't this the fucking wrong movie?
These are the only masks I have.
Ah, fuck that!
You piece of shit.
You're an asshole. Welcome back, everybody.
How's it going, folks?
We're Collin and Nate. I'm Nate.
And I'm the Collin.
And today we're here to talk about Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Part 5? I haven't even seen parts 2, 3, and
Doesn't
4.
matter! It doesn't fucking matter that you haven't seen that. Today, this video is sponsored by Corona Extra for when you're feeling all those extra feelings about when your whole family was attacked by Jason Voorhees and now you're in a mental institution.
Yay!
So, I chose this movie because of all the Friday the 13th films, this is the most controversial. People either hate it or people either love it. And I think it is a masterpiece. Mostly because it's like a slapstick comedy. It's Friday the 13th Part 4 and Friday the 13th Part 6 are the two best of the franchise. They're amazing. In between was when all the writers were like, we don't fucking know what to do with this franchise. Let's just like make this random movie about children in a mental institution. And yeah, so that's Friday the 13th. Colin, what's your initial thought?
I was alright with this movie. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster ride of bad acting mixed with nudity, mixed with
boobies,
murder, and back to nudity, and back to bad acting, and then bad acting and nudity in the same scene.
Did you love how like 90% of the movie was like a Benny Hill comedy with those rednecks in the woods? Yeah.
That mom was giving her all the...
She was fucking amazing. If anything, she's like the best part of the entire movie. Like, I love... She's so committed, where the rest of these people are just like... There's a cue card in the back corner, and they're like, what's my line again?
She was so committed, and she was giving it everything she had, but at the same time, you could just see the frustration in every line she delivered, at how shit everybody else in the movie was. She's like... She was probably in theater and everything, and like took herself seriously as an actor, but all these other idiots were just somehow got involved in this movie.
I'm gonna chop up these motherfuckers!
She's like, I can't believe I have to read this shitty dialogue.
You know what it is? It's the director's mom. She's like, Mom, we're going in the woods this week. I got this house. We're gonna film this movie, and I really need you to be on your A game. She's like, I'm there for you, son. Yeah, so we're gonna get into it, but honestly, it's an enjoyable. It was
a lot of fun.
It is. All right, so Friday the 13th Part 5 picks up where Friday the 13th Part 4 leaves off. We've got a young Corey Feldman in a raincoat that's the credits at the beginning say starring Corey Feldman, and it's like clearly shots that they took from the fourth movie and just inserted it into the fifth movie because Corey Feldman was doing like the Lost Boys and like all this shit. His career trajectory was on the right path until he made his album. Oh no. Yeah, but so Corey Feldman's in at the beginning, and he's like walking up to Jason Voorhees' grave, but he's like really far back, and then like the camera's like looking through these leaves, and there's these two like rednecks that are like, we're gonna dig up Jason.
Yeah, they dig him up, and it's really awkwardly shot. All these really strange close-ups of the guys' faces as they pull the dirt back, and they pry up the coffin lid, and they just stare. And you see their reactions for, I swear, it's like a good 20-second shot on each of them just going.
The best one's when it cuts back to Corey Feldman, because it's like the same shot of the rain on his glasses, and he's like, oh, kind of like Belial. And when they open it up, he's got like worms crawling out of the mask. And Colin made the comment, he's like, why the fuck did they bury him with his mask and his machete?
And another stabbing weapon of some kind.
Yeah.
Like, he stabs them both.
Yeah, you're just like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, there's no reason for him to be buried with his weapons that he, like, mass murdered people. 4 movies he's killed people. Well, 3. The first one's not him. Three movies he kills people violently. So, of course, he jumps out of the grave and he fucking murders the shit out of these dudes.
And then he goes up to Corey Feldman and raises his machete slowly, as he does.
Reoccurring theme in the movie,
And then
slowly raising.
Corey Feldman screams, "Ah!" Is this supposed to be adult Corey Feldman?
No, this is a flashback to Corey Feldman in the last movie after the events of his mother and his sister and himself being attacked.
Wait, so is Corey Feldman Tommy?
Corey Feldman is a young Tommy Jarvis.
Okay. So then, older Tommy Jarvis is played by the same kid from Troll 2.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
I don't think it's really him, but he looks like
He
him.
looks. It's honestly like a splitting image of him. Like they look identical.
For the first 10 minutes of the movie when he's wearing his glasses, but then the rest of the movie they're gone. They're like, "You look like the Troll 2 kid."
It's like a direct It's a direct edit. So it's like young Tommy Jarvis, and then it's cut old Tommy Jarvis in the back of a chain link fence car.
They shoved a chain link fence in the car because they couldn't find a car that actually had bars in the windows.
So they start driving to take him to Pinehurst Mental Institution, which isn't a mental institution.
Little sanitarium on the prairie.
Yeah, well, you know, it's kind of like you wonder, did these people have good intentions with this movie? Because like the idea is that this guy and this woman open this place for mental patients to go and like try to, you know, live out in society rather than be behind bars. They're like outside and they're like, oh, we're gonna take these kids and we're gonna rehabilitate all these. Which you don't realize what any of these kids' mental problems are through the whole movie.
Well, the one kid's mental problems is that he's a fat fuck that can't stop spreading chocolate all over his face.
Now that was insulting, which didn't make any sense because it's like all this movie seems to paint like a portrayal of these people are trying to help these mentally ill kids, and it's like, no, this kid's got chocolate all over the sides of his face, and he's just a dummy.
He's just dumb and fat.
He's just dumb and fat. Don't forget in the 80s, you could make fun of anybody for anything. It didn't matter. Now, this might be the 70s. I don't fucking know. You've watched all the videos. We don't remember.
We don't do any research.
We don't write anything down, you fuckers.
When Tommy's first dropped off at the house,
What's the line?
The lady takes him, and he goes, the guy who's driving the vehicle that drops him off, he says some kind of like a catcall word to the lady.
Anytime, doll.
And he licks his lips.
It's
disgusting. Yeah, he's like, sugar.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Another sex pervert director.
Time.
Pull in, and they're like getting out. They're getting out of the car, and they're introducing him to this female actress who is arguably as bad as the woman in Basket Case. She's like, "Welcome to Pinehurst."
We are gonna make you not crazy.
Not a Looney Tune. And she's like, would you like, what do you want to tell me, Tommy? And Tommy doesn't like to talk. He's very reclusive. He just sits there and he goes, and it's probably because the kid couldn't fucking act. And they're like, we don't want you to say anything. Don't talk.
They're like, don't tell him when you're rolling. Just start recording while you're tell him, memorize your lines and then record.
Yeah, so they introduce him and then they go inside to the office where the guy who looks kind of like... What's his name? The dude
dad from Little House on the Prairie.
He looks like the dad from Little House on the Prairie, John Ritter. That's what I was thinking the whole time. So he goes in the office and he's like telling him, he's like, what's wrong? Like, you know, what's going on? We're trying to make you better. And he's just like, and they're like, all right, well, we'll go show you your room. They take him upstairs, and then when he goes upstairs, they're down there looking through his file, and it's like,
like this kid's fucked up in the head.
He's like, he got put in for manslaughter of a serial murderer, and his mom and his sister were attacked.
Oh, yeah, he called it self-defense.
Yeah, self-defense murder.
Severe trauma at age 12. Brutal self-defense murder of a psychopathic killer.
He's like, this is fucked. I don't think he says
that.
Things aren't looking too good. He's clearly mentally scarred. And so then we jump up to Tommy Jarvis up in his room, and he's like having all these flashbacks and shit, and he opens up his closet, and what drops down but a fake plastic spider. And who comes out but our favorite character in the movie, Lil Reggie.
Played by Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman. Yeah, so he goes there, he goes, are you afraid of spiders? Are you afraid of rubber spiders?
Are you afraid of fake rubber spiders hanging on strings?
You scared of spiders? You scared of rubber spiders? You scared of rubber spiders on strings?
Clearly. And he's like, you know, where I'm from, we have to worry about real serious issues.
Yeah, and the whole time Tommy just has the dead-eyed dick look.
So, the rubber spider, and so then Tommy turns around for a second, and he turns back around and he goes, "Brrr!" And he's got this like fish-looking mask on, and he goes, he's like, oh my god, that's terrifying. He's like, what, did you make that? Actually, I did.
You act like you made these things or something.
I did.
I made it with my hands.
So then he just opens his bag, which you think is going to have his clothes for while he's standing there. But nope, just a whole bunch of fucking weird-ass masks that he made. Did you make these? Yes. Don't touch it! After that, we cut down to some dude chopping some wood outside and these young girls doing some laundry. One of the girls doing laundry is like, got all this paint on. She's got her headphones on.
Oh yeah, she's the punk. She's cool.
She's cool. So then we get the fat boy with special needs that we were talking about, which clearly was.
He has a nice intro as he slowly walks out of the porch with the chocolate on his face, with another chocolate bar in his pocket.
I thought it was
waddles on out.
I thought it was really insensitive that he came out and it was going. So he comes out. He literally has 2 drawn-on chocolate stains on there, and he's like. So he walks over. He goes, "Hey, ladies, would you like me to help you fold the laundry?"
It's like reverse Joker makeup with just chocolate making him a sad face. I eat my feelings because I'm an orphan. I can do laundry.
I don't know if he says that he eats his feelings, but Jesus Christ.
The rest is true.
The rest is true. So yeah, so they're like doing laundry, and I don't even remember the guys' names because no one's name in this movie really matters. Oh. He's like, "Come on, I'm really good at doing the laundry. I can do the laundry just like everybody else." And he grabs, of course, the all-white sheet that they're holding on to. They go, "Oh God, you got chocolate all over it."
It's really no problem.
Joey! Will you just get out of here?
With your fat fucking hands.
They don't ever say that, but yeah, that's implied. This movie hates fat people. So he goes, "Fine, I'll help somebody else do another chore." And then he walks over to our stereotypical jock cutting wood, and he goes, "Hey, buddy, how's chopping the wood?"
It's like, shut the hell up.
He's like, "Just let me chop the wood." He goes, "Come on, I want to learn how to chop the wood. I want to help out." And the guy's like, his face just keeps progressively getting angrier, and he goes, "Come on, bud, I got another chocolate bar. Don't tell the girls about it." And he sets it on the log, and the dude fucking cuts the chocolate bar straight in half.
Yeah, he's like, if you want to be like that, forget about it. Something stupid like that.
It's not even like, he's not even really rude.
Yeah.
He's just like trying to help the guy out. The guy clearly has mental problems. If anyone in this film has mental problems, it's this guy. And he turns around and the dude fucking axes the shit out of him. And the first like 10 minutes of the movie. It's a Jason Voorhees
He goes
movie.
full on Jack Torrance on his ass.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. Like, he just hits him in the back, and then it immediately quick cuts to a police car outside, and they're like consoling everyone.
But they didn't like, everybody go away, nothing to see here, no police line, do not cross. Just everybody's sitting like 10 feet away from the body. The girls are like, you hear crying. You very clearly hear crying, but then you see everybody and they're just look bored. And it's nobody's crying.
And what's really funny is, this is like the introductory moment to like a 20-minute scene where this whole thing plays out, and then you're introduced to the redneck characters. And this whole thing plays out in the span of like 20 minutes.
Oh no, you're introduced to the redneck characters before everybody.
Is this before the murder?
Because
God damn it, we can't get anything right. We fucked up again. When we're introduced to the redneck characters, what happens is the police car pulls up to the house, and there's these 2 little kids in the back, and they're like these kids were at the such and such house down the street, and Ethel's really pissed because these kids were fucking in her backyard.
Ethel's name, but you can't remember the fat kid's name.
No, because Ethel is a beautiful character in this movie, pivotal role. This kid dies in the first old what'd you call him, Billy D. Chungus in the last movie or something.
Chubby Checkers.
Chubby Checkers. He doesn't matter. So these kids get out, and then of course Ethel and her fucking hillbilly son pull up on their motorbike.
Oh yeah.
Woo, mama, we gonna teach him lesson. So she gets off. She goes, "You fuckers!" She gets off. She's like, "These kids were fucking in my lawn, and you better be glad I didn't see it." And she says another one of several one-liners. But
she has some great ones.
Now these kids ain't nothing but trouble. They don't respect others' property, and they're all crazy.
You tell 'em, Ma!
Would you shut the fuck up?
Says all that, and then they're like, she's like, "I'm gonna kill all of you someday," something along those lines. Like it's really fucking brutal.
Yeah, no.
Chop them all up, right?
I don't think she says that quite then, but the cop is like, the sheriff is getting in her face, and she said, "I got a bomb on me."
The next little bastard comes near my farm, I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out. You hear me? Don't you come near me, Sheriff. I'm warning you. I got a bomb on me.
Swear to God, you take one more step, I'll blow us all to hell. And he's just like,
she is so committed. And then when she turns around or whatever, she goes, "Fuck off!"
Yeah, she said, and this is gonna be my last word on it. They take off on the bike.
So cut back, where Chubby Checker's been murdered, and after his murder occurs, the cops are there, and the cops are talking to the dad from Little House on the Prairie, and he's like, "Man, this is really horrible." They said, "Well, does he have any family?" They're like, "No, he was an orphan. Nobody knew about him.
His mom died during childbirth. His dad, fuck if I know what happened to him."
The paramedics show up, and this fucking guy gets down, and what's he do? Not the classy thing. He just takes the fucking tarp off the kid. He goes, "What do we got here?" And he's like looking at him. The other paramedics horrified.
His chopped off arm is laying on top of his body.
He's got all the axe marks in his back, and he's like.
Bunch of pussies.
Oh yeah, because everybody freaks out because they're nowhere away from the scene.
Yeah, and he literally says pussies.
Yeah, bunch of pussies.
the other paramedic is like fucking horrified, and like the camera really holds on his face for a really long time, and it gets really angry.
I just thought it was the terrible editing.
Yeah, this movie. Well, if this movie's gonna hold on one thing, it's random characters and titties. Yeah,
it's true. There's a lot of gratuitous boob shots.
If you're 13 years old and don't have access to a porno mag, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning is just for you.
You're welcome, but you're probably watching this on your phone, which means you have the internet.
Exactly. Well, you're jerking off to something. Remember our childhood?
Keep it classy.
The blood splatter patterns on this guy make no fucking sense. Now, unless most of the deaths in this movie are cut off on camera, but they hit this dude in the back repeatedly. But there's like blood all over his legs and like up on his head, and it's like, unless when they cut away that this dude went ham on him with that
I would
axe.
imagine, based on this guy's demeanor leading up to it, he didn't stop until somebody had to like pull
him off of him.
Yeah,
it was pretty fucking
just
grisly.
Kept hacking. That's how his severed arm was laying on top of his fat dead body.
It was just fucking insane.
Because the next scene after the murder is breakfast.
It's breakfast, yeah.
The one girl sets too many plates, even though I don't think there's really even enough chairs at the table for as many people as they were supposed to have. So it's a good thing those guys died.
And one of the guys who's a character that I'm sure literally only exists for 30 seconds in the film jumps behind him and he goes, "Brah!" with a mask on, and fucking little psychopath Tommy Jarvis just starts laying him down.
Suplexes the shit out of him.
Breaks a table and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then Dad from Little House on the Prairie pushes him up against the wall. He goes, "Calm down. Calm down."
He's like, "You wore my mask, you motherfucker. Nobody wears my mask.
I crafted these masks with my hands and human skin from people in my neighborhood." Oh, sorry. I'm pretty sure the next scene is we're introduced to our two greasers.
Oh God.
Out in the car.
That serves no purpose. There's zero reason for these people to be the first victims.
Yes, but you haven't watched much of the Friday the 13th franchise. The only rule in Friday the 13th is if you smoke pot, premarital sex, or you're an asshole, you're dying.
So he just teleports to anyone who's being an asshole.
Anyone who's being an asshole. And these kids are fucking assholes. This guy goes, he pulls his car up, and the car dies in the middle of the road. And he's looking at his friend in the passenger seat who's not even driving. He goes, "Get the fuck out and figure out what's wrong with my car." And he lifts the hood up, and before he even takes a look, he goes, "I can't figure this out."
Yeah, he says, "This is a mess."
Oh, fuck. This is a mess.
As if the engine exploded or something.
And so he's like complaining, and he goes, "Well, figure it out. I gotta take a shit."
Get this done by the time I get back. I gotta take a crap.
Well, and this might be giving the movie a little bit too much credit, but I just imagine a writer's room, which this
There was no
clearly
writer's
didn't
room for this.
have. But I just imagine, like, how do we get these two guys separated? The other guy has to take a shit, so he walks out in the woods.
He's like, and here's the funny part, which we talked about when we were watching it. He doesn't just like walk into the trees and take a dump. He's like taking a little stroll. He's trying to find the perfect
He's singing
spot.
and stuff. He's having a great time.
He takes a shit, and while he's taking a shit, his buddy's like working on the car or whatever, and he hears a noise. Like picks his head up. He's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, here's a. But then he also hears it louder, and it's the lighting of a fucking road flare.
And he looks at the guy in the face. He goes, "What are you doing here?"
He thinks it's his friend somehow
Yeah.
because he's taking crazy pills. He's like, what are you doing with that? What's going on?
So he's looking at him, and this motherfucker shoves a road flare straight down his throat.
That was pretty decent
It's a
though.
pretty fucking cool kill.
I mean, it was clearly a head made of wax that they shoved
Yeah.
a road flare into, but it was. I was surprised they tried it.
So then they cut back to Shit His Pants McGee, and he's like walking back. He goes, "Hey, buddy boy, did you get the car all fixed up?" And he's like singing a song in the car while he's like hitting the steering
And he
wheel.
comes back and his friend's all slumped over inside the hood of the car, and he's like, "You get it fixed yet, you fucker?"
"Come on, we gotta get to these bitches, man."
It's like, start the fucking car. You better get the fucking thing. I'm a burn, piece of shit.
It turns into a Primus song. They call me John the Fisherman. Yeah, and so after he does that whole Primus number, which I thought was weird, they included that in the movie. So they cut back, and he's like, "What's going on?" He finally gets the car started up. It finally turns, and he goes, "Yeah, we're ready to go."
Get in!
And then he gets fucking obliterated.
Oh yeah, he gets grabbed from the behind the seat. Gets his throat slit off camera.
Yeah, and then we cut back to the crazy rednecks, because I think that's the most fun.
Crazy rednecks.
So they're at their crazy redneck's house. They're at the crazy redneck's house, and the mom is like making this stew, which is, I guess, the only thing that she ever does. She's just pulling this stew around. She goes,
Wait.
"Mama, this is the best stew I ever tasted in my whole life."
say-
It didn't really make any sense. She's like, "Can you get over them fucking loony bin people down there? I'm gonna fucking cut them into pieces." And she's like cutting this fucking chicken up with a butcher knife.
Oh yeah.
Like really grisly.
Like the
You into itty bitty little pieces, my friend. Just like they done to that pig-o over there at that fucking crazy farm.
And she's just like butchering the shit out of him and saying a lot of really horrible things about mentally ill people, and it's like, "Those motherfuckers, I'm gonna cut up every last one of them." "Yeah, mama, you get them, mama." But she's committed, and I'm impressed.
Oh, yeah, and what's his face? Michael Rooker shows up.
Is that
And he
scene?
just walks right up to the window.
Oh yeah, he's like, "I've been on the road for a while and I'm looking to fill my belly." And she goes, "Well, go clean the chicken shit out of the coop and dump it out back," like he knows where the fuck that is.
Yeah, I mean, you just follow the chickens. Cut back to the house to sex pervert guy and girl who were caught at the beginning of the movie having sex.
Oh yeah, that's
On the
exactly right.
property.
Yeah, they're like outside, and she's like hanging some laundry up or whatever, And he goes, come on, baby, let's go. And she's like, oh, right now, Matt's gonna kill us.
We can't
do it right now. And then he says the great line.
Fuck you.
Exactly. Fuck me.
And so they grab one of the sheets off and they run down into the middle of this like wooded area and they throw down the.
Oh yeah,
down.
and he starts like he's like chasing her around and like. No, making her chase him. He's like, follow me. He's like throwing dirt at her and shit.
Yeah, it's like so weird.
What kind of foreplay is this?
He's like, the ladies love being showered in dirt.
He's like, come on, piggy, let's go.
So they run out there and he drapes this really ugly sheet down, and you're like, well, somebody's shirt's coming off. But what might subvert your expectations is he starts like ripping his shirt off first. It's like, oh, here comes the man titties.
He pulls out a joint.
Yeah, they do start hitting the joint first because they got to break all the rules. Assholes.
They're being assholes by stealing the
premarital sex.
They smoke the joint and they're getting it on.
So he starts taking his shirt off, and then here's the first money shot of the movie. she just takes her top off, and it's like the killer's through the trees, but they hold on that shot for a real long time, don't they?
Yeah, you see the POV shot that's supposed to clearly be the killer.
Once them mammary glands come out, you're gonna get a heavy focus on that.
Oh man.
He goes, oh yeah, sweetie, keep it up. Keep.
Oh yeah, that's the director speaking.
Keep going. You're gonna make a lot of money. This is gonna be a big budget movie. We're with Paramount Pictures.
So they get it on for like 15 seconds, and then the guy
says, "I have to clean up."
The guy shudders, and he's like, "I gotta go clean up." So then he
go down to this ravine.
He disappears, and she just decides to lay down out in this open field naked. But somewhere in between all the nudity, you find out that the POV shot is not from the killer. It's from the creepy guy who had to clean the shit out of the chicken coop. And he's just watching them, you know.
It was the director.
Heavy breathing. The director's like, I gotta get in on this.
He's like, I gotta be in this shot.
But then something happens and he gets fucking killed. I don't remember how.
Obliterated, yeah. Didn't he like get him through the throat? Is that one?
I think he just stabs him in the chest and he's just like,
oh god.
He just dies silently so that the people who are 20 feet away can't hear him dying.
Yeah, so they cut back and the lady's laying there, and then you see this shot where it goes, and it's like shears, right? It's like the shears, and then he stabs down.
It's so quick. You see the shears stab down, and then you see the handles close.
Now, what's weird is, and I don't know if you picked this up when we were watching it, but like whenever the guy stabs somewhere, it doesn't like make sense anatomically where he's stabbing, because I would have thought with where he came down that he was hitting her in the chest. But when we cut back to old gotta give myself a horse bath, he like runs up, he grabs a stick, he's like throwing the stick around, he goes, I just got laid, and he's like doing some dancing, and he comes back and she's like laid over like this and her ass is hanging out, and he's like ready for round 2, and he like pulls her around and her fucking eyes are gashed out.
Oh yeah.
I would have never guessed that, like with the trajectory of where he was stabbing, that it was in her fucking eyeballs.
Yeah, I feel like they don't really think out a lot of the angles.
Nah,
that was the last thing on their mind.
They're like, he's absolutely fucking horrified, like beyond terrified. And so he gets scooped up by a secret killer, and they like put a fucking belt around his eyeballs
and a
like,
tree.
Yeah, and put him up against a tree, and the dude like has like he like puts the loop through the belt. And he starts pulling as hard as he can and fucking ripping at the dude's eyeballs because he's going to go like double, like they're going to be like, oh, it's a double homicide. They were killed the same way. Their eyes were fucking obliterated.
Yeah, he starts twisting the stick to tighten the belt around the tree.
It's disgusting. And then we cut to, if I remember correctly, Discount Laura Dern and Discount Nicolas Cage.
God.
So Discount Laura Dern works as a waitress at a diner, and she's closing up this diner, and Discount Nicolas Cage pulls up. They're just reenacting Wild at Heart at this point. He pulls up and he's like in this car, and he goes, "Hey baby, what's going on?" He looks like a creepy ass like pedophile, and she's like this like 20-something-year-old woman, and you're like, what is going on? And so he's like, come on, can't you come out? She's like, I'm closing up, I'll be just a minute. And so then she goes into the bathroom.
Oh, God.
When she changes clothes, and we get the best line in the entire movie.
It's showtime!
showtime.
Yeah, she rips her fucking blouse open, no bra, and she just goes, "It's showtime!" And it's like, oh, now we know what this director's all about. Now he's showing his true colors.
Another creepy sex pervert.
He's at the pitch meeting. He's like, it's a movie about people who struggle with mental illness. And we're gonna really portray how difficult the lives are for these people suffering from mental illness. And there's gonna be titties!
It's like, and naturally we're gonna need about 7 topless scenes and 1 wet t-shirt scene.
The wet t-shirt. That's almost even more disgusting than the boobs. It's like the way it's, oh yeah, we're gonna get you all greased up, all nice.
And we're gonna have you film half those scenes with a 7-year-old.
Cuts back to discount Nicolas Cage in his car, and he goes, "Time to do some cocaine," and he has this
has a pep talk to himself. What does he say about?
He says Alps are covered in snow or headed up my nose.
Oh, yeah, it's like he's like, it's cloudy out and it's blah blah blah. It could be sunny, but it's gonna snow up your nose.
Snow up in my nose.
The forecast is cloudy in the mountains, sunny in the valleys, and snow flurries up your nose.
He does a bunch of coke, and she's in there.
And then doesn't he just die right there?
Yes, but his kill gets out of the car, and he turns around, and it's this sick, behind the back hit with the machete, and he gets, because it zooms in real quick on his face, he goes, "Bleh!" And then it hits him in the back of the head, and he drops down, and then the girl's in there, and so she goes outside, and she gets in his car, and she goes, she sees this cocaine, and she's like, "You're gonna lose all your money if you're spending it on this, booger sugar." And I can't, does she do a line of the coke?
She tries, and then it's too late. She sees his dead body out there, and she's like, she struggles to open the door. It's locked or something, and then she just opens it, and then stands up and runs over, and then he stabs her right in the chest.
Yeah.
Or it looks like he stabs her in the stomach, but
when
you see the wounds,
it's up
in the
top.
chest.
Yeah, it's the same. Anatomically, it doesn't make any sense. The whole movie, it doesn't make sense.
Bit.
Then we cut back to the house, and it's nighttime, and
where is everybody? We haven't seen this couple. They've been gone.
They're
forget
hours. About it. We don't give a shit.
Let's go visit your brother.
Yeah, let's go visit your brother, Demon.
Yeah, they go visit Richie. Is it
Reggie?
Reggie's brother.
Reginald Vell Johnson.
They go visit Reggie's brother.
So they go to see Reggie's brother at the trailer park.
Oh yeah, the neon sign says trailer park.
Trailer park. Reggie knocks on his brother's trailer door. And we were introduced to, arguably next to Ethel, the greatest character in this movie.
Oh yeah, Demon. He's the guy from Return of the Living Dead.
It was fucking awesome. His you talk about people being committed to a performance. This dude took the shittiest material ever and went with it, and he's fucking awesome. His brother opens up the door. He goes, "Hey, brother, it's so great to see you." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "What's that?" He goes, "Oh, I'm just eating some food." He goes, "What's that?"
Freaking A! Where'd you get that?
Hey, calm down, dude.
Hat you got. And it pans over to his girlfriend. He goes, "That's my girlfriend."
Yeah, she's dressed like she's going to a ball, wearing a fancy dress, and
they're in some shitty ass trailer,
smoking a joint.
Hubba hubba. And he goes, "You want some enchiladas?" Talk for a little bit, and it's kind of a sweet, sentimental moment between the two brothers, and he's like,
"I could do anything for my brother. Take the ring off my fucking finger."
And he gives it to him, and then he goes, "But can I have that one?" He goes, "Ah ha ha, you little fucker." No. So then he's like, "Well, we got to go back now. Tommy's having a little freak out." So while that's going on,
Tommy fights
Ethel's little boy shows up on his motorcycle, and he pulls straight up, and the camera goes up right up there, lights in his face, and he goes, "Scared ya?"
Oh yeah. He scares the shit out of Tommy. Then he starts getting in his face. He's like, "You're one of the freaks, one of the nuts, one of the loons.
My mom's gonna chop every last one of you up.
You hear me?" So then they start fighting.
Could you believe that he had a "Make America Great Again" hat on?
And then Tommy beats the shit out of this guy. He's about to do the final knockout punch. He's drawn back, and then the counselor comes out. "Tommy!"
And takes off running into the woods. And counselor lady gets in the truck.
He's like, "Get in the truck, Reggie. It's time to go."
Yeah, and so then it goes away, and then we cut back to Demon, who's sitting there with his girlfriend. She goes, oh, that's such a sweet little boy. And she's like, you want a hit of this? And he takes a hit of it. And she's like, and he goes, oh God, and you hear the blah. And then
It's them damn enchiladas.
it's the damn enchiladas!
The damn enchiladas!
Oh, and then he does like he gets up and he goes, he scoots into the bathroom while he's holding his stomach, and he goes into the shittiest porta pot that you've ever seen in your life.
I think even better than that, though, is when he's in there and he's taking a shit, it starts shaking, and he starts looking around all scared, and you're like, oh, classic, like, horror movie moment. He's about to be murdered, and the thing's shaking. Who's there? Who is that? And then it cuts to outside, and it's his girlfriend with her
She's
ballroom
laughing.
dress on, shaking the freaking porta-john.
You gonna get it, bitch.
Oh, lighten up, demon. You'll feel a lot better after you shit.
She's like, you'll feel better after you take a shit. And so then it gets
And then
really
they start singing to each other.
Yeah, they sing.
They start singing to each other while he's taking a shit.
Ooh, 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 baby. Yeah, baby. Ooh, 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 baby. That's all it is. It's like the same three lines.
That's how I knew I wanted to marry my wife, is when she started singing to me outside the bathroom door while I was squeezing out a turd.
I'll never forget when I first went to a concert festival with my wife, and we went into I went to the Porta-John, and she shook it, and she was trying to be like Friday the 13th Part 5: A New Beginning, but she shook it too hard, and she dumped the porta potty, and the shit got all over me, and then I had to go through the rest of the concert festival with human feces all over me. What a great time! Love you, hon. So then you hear her go and then it cuts off. Like, what's going on? It gets really quiet. He goes, honey, and he like creeps open the porta potty.
Oh no, not yet! It starts shaking again. It's like, that's it, bitch. Now you're gonna get it.
Yeah, and so then he creeps open
I told you this isn't funny. Now you're gonna get it, bitch.
the door, and he goes, ugh, and she's got her throat slit, and then he shuts it back because you wouldn't try to run out of the porta potty. You just sit your ass back down. Yeah. So he sits back on the porta potty, and the camera cuts down to his leg, which you're like, oh, okay, we get it. We know what's gonna happen next. And so he cuts down to his leg, and a big, I don't even know what it is. It's like a spike almost.
Yeah, big spear.
It comes through first, and he goes, ugh, and he like backs up, and then right through the leg. Oh! And then straight through his tum-tum, and he's gone. Demon, the greatest character in the movie.
Right after Tommy beats the shit out of the hillbilly, they cut this in at some point.
Mama, he beat me!
He drives his dirt bike back to the house.
And it's the same shot,
Yeah,
cut
just
over
drives
and over again.
and around the whole thing. He beat me, mama! And the mom's like, you fucker!
Get in here and eat my stew! But the stew's not done.
It's not even on heat yet.
No. So he gets fucking obliterated.
What does she call him? You fuck.
About time
You fuck!
Yeah, so fucking obliterates the guy outside. Jason shows up and kills him while he's on his bike.
Oh yeah, chops his head.
Clean off, and a nice little prop head rolls. And then we cut back inside, and she goes, Junior, what the fuck are you doing? And she gets fucking obliterated right there.
Yeah.
Kill them hillbillies.
Face first into the soup.
Face first. Poor Ethel. She's the best part of that movie, I swear to Christ.
Oh, you dumb?
Pull up to the house. She drops Reggie off. He goes inside, and she's like, alright, you stay here. You need to go to bed.
I'm going to go find him.
I'm going to go find Tommy.
Cuts to the guy who looks like John Cryer.
A horror movie together, and
he's like, about to get frisky.
He's like, hey, I want to be with you.
Yeah, so he's like on the couch, and he goes, I've been with you and she goes, uh-huh. Yeah, uh-huh. Uh-huh. And then he says, I want to make love to you. And she starts fucking laughing her ass off.
Yep.
Poor kid, right? Yeah, so he goes upstairs, and he's like, you know what? That didn't work out for me. I'm going to try to fuck the chick who's always listening to her Walkman. And so he knocks on her door, and she's like in there doing the sickest dance moves I've ever seen. She
does the rope pull.
She does the rope pull. It looks really good. Yeah, so they're doing all these moves or whatever. And he goes, no, I need to talk to you right now. And then he just walks out. He doesn't even try that hard.
No, he doesn't.
It's disappointing. So he walks out, and then, you know what happens.
Then we cut to,
Fucking obliterated.
Does he even show him?
Oh, yeah. Knife, the machete up, camera holds, down, right in the head, dead. Then it cuts back down to her on the couch.
Yeah.
She's all just kind of like, oh,
She gets
man,
up.
I shouldn't have cock-blocked him.
Yeah, she tries to put Reggie to bed, and he's not listening.
Pulls the blanket down from on
Yeah,
top.
so she just covers him up, and she's like, whatever, I'm going to go to bed and get naked.
So she goes upstairs, she takes off the top, and this scene might be the most ridiculous as far as the camera holding on her knockers.
As far as these movies go, you just have to understand that the second you see someone's nipples, they're fucking dead. Just dead. You know they're gonna die. Oh, and lingers on her boobs for way too long. Then she goes to bed and she covers everything except
the boobs, which is the greatest
because
thing.
the director's like, no, we gotta stay there.
Keep looking at him.
I really want this
Keep
shot.
looking at him.
This is important for my artistic vision. You see a hand come up, and then you see the machete come up from under the bed.
Which, let's be real, they literally just took the kill from the first Friday the 13th when they killed Kevin Bacon. Spoilers if you haven't seen the original Friday the 13th.
That's the best kill.
Yeah, but in that one, it goes up through his throat,
It's
which is
great.
pretty cool.
And
Yeah, it
looks awesome.
The special
too.
effects are great in that movie. So she gets fucking obliterated, and then we cut over to across the hall to the girl doing her dance. Bow, chicka, bow, bow. Gonna do my dance. Gonna do the rope.
And it goes
gonna
on
do the dance.
way too long.
Oh.
So she's dancing around doing the robot and some weird rope bullshit.
And you see, actually, the shots in the scene are really cool. Like when he opens up the door and he walks in, and the camera's just like knees down. And like Jason has those iconic boots that he wears in almost every movie. So he walks in, and then she turns around really quick, and he's not there. And then she turns back around. She's like dancing or whatever, and then she cuts back. She looks back around again. Nobody's there. And then you see him slowly start to walk towards her. And then she turns around. Ah! He like smashes her up against the wall. And I think that's just another stab kill. If I remember
He
right,
just
you know?
stabs her through.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie wakes up, and he goes to try. He goes and he's like looking. He's like, "Where is everybody?" And he goes and he starts knocking on Tommy's door. He's like, Tommy, I know you're the newest one, the one I know the least, but I'm knocking on your door.
And they're all stacked dead on his bed.
Yeah, John Cryer and the two bimbos are stacked dead on the bed. And he's like, "Wah!"
And you see like this horrible lightning effect that they cued just so you could see the outlines of their body. Yeah, so
that's
lightning
when the
effect.
chick
And
shows
but no,
up.
so she shows up and he goes. She's like, "What's wrong, honey?" He's like, Tommy's room. And so she walks in there, and here's how you know the movie sucks. The same lightning effect off screen when she sees it. She goes, "Ah!" So she sees it with the lightning effect, and then she goes, "We gotta get the fudge out of here."
Oh, yeah. And then...
That's when you see Jason.
Jason shows up in the house.
Yep, that's when you see him the first time. That's when you actually see the mask and everything, and you're like, there he is.
He just
the
like
man.
bursts through the window, I think, and then he's just standing there like, "That's right, motherfuckers."
They get split up, and I can't remember if Jason finds our blonde girl or Reggie first.
The blonde girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he chases her down and gets really close to killing her.
Because she's got her white t-shirt and no bra with the pouring rain.
From the rain machine.
Dumping buckets of rain.
Just keep it coming, baby. That's what we need to see.
And she slowly runs away from him. And she falls down. And all she can do is try to crawl away as he slowly walks towards her. And this whole time you're wondering, where the fuck is Tommy? And then all of a sudden you see the barn doors just burst open right when he lifts his machete and he's about to kill her. The barn doors burst open and you see this tractor coming out. And my first thought was, oh, Tommy finally showed up and he's ready to kick some ass. But no, it's the fucking little kid.
How did he even know how to operate that?
Yeah, and he just comes up and bashes him in the chest with this thing.
But here's the funny part. Realistically, if he picked up the speed a little bit, lady's dead.
Oh, for sure.
Because the dude's like a mile away. So he gets back up, of course, and then he's going to chase him into the barn. And he walks into the barn, and he's like doing this little slow walk or whatever. And who's to show up but our main man, Tommy Jarvis, finally. They're in the barn. And that's when they're going to get the mano y mano. Tommy Jarvis versus Jason Voorhees.
Oh, yeah, because she fucks him up. She fucks Jason up with a chainsaw.
Well, she just like pray for death. The battle at the end.
She fucks up
pulls
his
the
arm,
chainsaw.
and the kid's like, "Yeah, you can do it."
But then she fucking throws the chainsaw. Yeah, then it
dies on him. It dies on her. So she throws. She keeps trying to start it, and she throws it at him, and they start climbing up the ladder. But then Tommy shows up, and she's like, "Tommy!" And the second Jason hears her say Tommy, he turns around and he's like, "That motherfucker."
And he starts walking towards him, and he goes, Jason. And he doesn't have any reaction, and Jason just hits him in the fucking stomach with his machete. But it's not even like a clean cut. You just hear...
Every other attack of his is like a one-hit kill. But this one, he slashes him across the whole torso, and he's just like, ah!
And then he gets back up.
Yeah, he gets up, and he manages to climb the ladder somehow?
Yeah, somehow. But he has to get Jason knocked over first.
How does he manage that?
I don't fucking remember. Cut the footage in. We don't know. So he manages to knock Jason over until he walks. He goes, Tommy, come up here! And so he climbs up the ladder. And as soon as he gets on the ladder, he's got an immense amount of blood loss, so he passes out.
Apparently, they don't really establish that, though. He just climbs up to the top of the ladder. Then Jason climbs up immediately after, and you see him laying there. He looks dead. So my first thought, never seeing this movie, is, oh, they came up with a plan in those.
That's the same thing I thought. Yeah, and then the girl jumps out again because you made a comment that it looked like it was like an axe handle that she was hitting him with.
She comes out with a straight up axe handle that's doesn't seem like it has anything attached to it.
And then, based on, cliche filmmaking standards, you cut to a shot outside of some spikes outside that zooms in. It's like, oh, buddy, what's going to happen with those? Somebody's landing on those. Yeah, so they go back and forth for a little bit. And she lures Jason, and he runs off. And you're like, it's finally over. He's dead.
But he pops back up and grabs Reggie's foot. And it looks like he's going to drag Reggie over the edge. But then our worthless hero, Tommy, stands up. Actually, Tommy does.
No, he
does do something.
Does he? Is he the one that knocks him?
He chops.
He hits him in the hand. Yeah, he does.
I thought for sure he was going to chop the kid's foot off.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Obviously, we know they don't understand weapon to anatomically correct part of the body. They just go mindlessly chop. And so he falls to his death on there. And then, of course, because...
As he falls, the mask comes off.
Oh, no. It's worse than that. He lands, and the mask is split like that, like it was cut open. Like, it's pathetic. It doesn't even... Like, his mask comes off, but he was clearly wearing, like, some kind of, like, facial cover. And it's split like this, and you're like, oh. Yeah, so it's the other... And then they're at the hospital. They cut to the hospital, and they're there recovering or whatever. And they're like, yeah, apparently this was that big chubby Checkers' dad, and he was upset when he saw his son axed to death. And, of course, when you see your son axed to death, you literally blame everyone else in the entire world, and you just murder all of them.
Especially the random greasers.
Blonde lady is sitting in the hallway of the hospital with our young boy,
young
Reginald, and she's like, I'm gonna go check on Tommy in the hospital room. She walks in the hospital room. Tommy's in there, and what happens? But he pulls a machete out and stabs her straight in the stomach.
Oh yeah. And then he starts laughing hysterically. And then he wakes up.
Nightmare. Yeah, just a nightmare.
Oh, it's okay. Everything's fine.
Don't worry about it. And
don't worry about it. Hands up and opens the drawer. And what does he find?
Jason's mask.
Yeah, he finds a Jason's mask.
Yeah, because you gotta have another one.
Somehow it's in his hospital room, and nobody knew he snuck it in there.
Mm-hmm. So they cut back out, and blonde lady's outside with Reggie, and she's like, I'm gonna go in and see Tommy again. So we're having a repeat of the scene, and she walks into the room. And he's not in the bed, and the window is broken.
Oh yeah, she hears the glass.
Yeah, she hears the glass
before
break.
She comes in. So she opens it. And she's like, "Oh my god!"
And then she turns around, and Tommy has the Jason mask on
and a kitchen knife.
And then we cut to credits. So like I said before, Friday the 13th Part 5, The New Beginning, is one of the most, it's like the most mixed bag of the reviews. I find this movie really interesting because 4 and 6 are great. They're like actually really well made horror movies that are really well done. This movie was like, 4 ended, they thought it was really good, and they're like, we don't fucking know what we want to do, so we're going to make a slapstick comedy. Collin, yeah, so what'd you think of Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning? Since tomorrow is well, whenever this releases, either Friday the 13th has happened, or it's the weekend after, depending on, you know, when this motherfucker right here gets it all edited. What did you think of Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning? Did you have a fun time with it?
I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah.
There were a lot of, I wouldn't say interesting death scenes, but it was entertaining. I was definitely entertained the entire runtime. But the biggest thing, honestly, if I'm going to be 100% honest, the biggest takeaway I had from this was seeing Demon really makes me want to rewatch
Return of the Living Dead. Yeah, for sure. Honestly, the thing I love about so you obviously horror fans out there, you have the 3 major franchises. You have Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street are all very intelligently crafted, really well done horror movies. Even the bad ones are still fun to watch. Yes, almost all. Towards the tail end, Freddy's Dead isn't that great, but it's good. Halloween, the first couple are really good, and then they suck. There's not even really like entertainment value towards the end. They just get really bad. Friday the 13th, they're all bad. So it's like you get entertainment value because they're so bad. So that's why I've always loved the Friday the 13th. Had to pull a U this episode. Yeah, so Friday the 13th has always held a very special place in my heart. I love these movies. Since Friday the 13th was coming up, I felt like it would be fun to do one of these, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great, man.
Yeah, so we hope you all have been enjoying the material.
Tell your friends.
Jason Voorhees, this is the wrong mask! Thanks for watching the review, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for watching it, and make sure you subscribe and like it and do the thing.
Tell your friends.
Tell your homies. Tell people about us. Talk shit if you want.
Tell us we're fuckers. We love doing this. It's like our passion. We have a lot of fun doing this for y'all. We both put a lot of time and effort into creating this content for you all. So if you tell us you like it, we're gonna put out more. And we've already had some requests for some movies. We're looking into it right now. Happy Friday the 13th, everybody.
And fuck yourself.
Don't smoke weed. Don't have premarital sex. And don't be an asshole.
We're fucked.
And gotta wear the chastity belt. Bye, everybody.